from the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com. You're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Man, this goofy music here makes me laugh, and that's not what I wanted to do when I started off this show.
Oh, don't worry.
I wanted to be angry.
We'll be fine.
Yes. Okay, it is the Bryan and Vinny Show here, everybody. Looks like it's May 6, 2018, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. It is, in fact, the post-Backlash recap show here.
It's the Backlash to Backlash.
Dude, I'm drenched with sweat. It is not just because this room is hot. I'm so full of fury having watched this show. I realize I'm smiling right now, but fear not. I just know this is not going to last. It's almost like it's so fucking bad it's funny right now. But it's going to make me mad again when I start thinking about it.
We go back into this, and you see, sometimes you do a show, and it's just bad and shit happens. And sometimes you do a show that is awful on paper, and this is one of those.
Oh, it's so much more than that, Vinny. It's so much more than that. But guess what? We got a special guest here today. Our buddy Joe is joining us. Joe is on the line. Not Joe Anawai, not Samoa Joe, just Joe. But not that just Joe.
Not him either.
Yeah, Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Bryan and Vinny. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. So a long-ass time ago, Joe donated to the Whale Scout fundraiser and had the opportunity to co-host a show with you and I, Vinny.
He did.
He's been waiting for months and months and months and months and months. And we finally all agreed, hey, why don't we do the post-Backlash show?
Oh, he agreed before the show.
Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't know how this show was going to turn out.
I thought he was going to play a long con, and he was waiting for a bad show, and he called in.
No.
So it's just a horrible twist of fate.
Yeah. Joe, how you doing today? Tell us about yourself.
In my favor.
Yes, tell us about yourself before we go any further.
So yeah, I live in Las Vegas, and I donated to Whitney's charity there. And you and I both pretty much forgot that I donated for like 18 months. So
it's been a long time. Yeah, it wasn't this past one. It was the one prior. So you've been waiting 18 months, and this is the fucking show that you got.
Yeah. It's pretty terrible.
Well, you know, it'll be one of the more memorable shows of the year, I can tell you that. Because this fucking show had to be... This was the worst show of the year. This was the worst show that I've seen in I don't even know how long. And let me tell you something. If it had not been for Seth Rollins and The Miz, this very well may have been the worst show I've ever seen in my life. It was that fucking bad. Am I the only one?
No.
It was certainly by WWE standards. One of the worst WWE shows in years.
Yeah, I'm sure there might have been Impact shows that were worse than that, or TNA shows, but this was so fucking horrendously bad. Now, Joe, a couple of questions before we get into this review right here. So do you still watch wrestling regularly? You did it 18 months ago. I mean, are you a regular Raw, SmackDown watcher? Do you watch New Japan? Tell us about your fandom.
So I got to say that, no, I don't really watch regularly anymore. And this is the first pay-per-view I've watched live in a long time. Usually I watch on delay so I can fast forward through all the bullshit. And, you know, because I'm doing the show with you, you pretty much forced me to watch this garbage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you burned my corneas. Thanks, Bryan.
But it's not my fault. I didn't want this show to be this bad. Trust me.
It happens.
It does happen. Let's begin, Vinny, because this could take all night. Let's talk about the only good thing on the show.
Real quick, I just want to say we're talking about the how this may have been the worst show in years. The worst show in 2017, according to the voters of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, was Battleground 2017, which had this card.
Okay.
New Day versus Usos. Of course it did. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, God. This does sound bad.
A women's 5-way with Natalya winning. Kevin Owens defeating AJ Styles in a singles match for the U.S. Championship. John Cena defeated Rusev in a flag match.
Oh.
Sami Zayn defeated Mike Kanellis. and Jinder Mahal defeated Randy Orton to win the WWE title.
Oh my God,
This
that
is the level.
show?
This is the level we are at. Oh, in a Punjabi prison match at that.
Which, if I recall correctly, we thought that match was going to be absolutely hideous, and it was only bad. So I'm thinking that there's a very good chance this show is worse.
I recall, and you know what? I'm certain of it.
But
I remember that Baron Corbin match being pretty bad, and the Sami Zayn and Kanellis match being pointless. But there's like 4 things on this Backlash show that was worse than anything on Battleground.
But the skew is this opening match with Seth Rollins and The Miz.
This was great.
It was a very, very good match.
You know what's funny? I was tweeting throughout the show, as many of us were, and I started tweeting about how I didn't like it. And I made a comment, it was actually later in the show, about how there's so many... For the biggest and most successful company in the history of the world, it's amazing how many bad wrestlers were on this co-branded show. And this somehow became a Miz versus Finn Balor debate, even though he wasn't the guy I was thinking
God.
of. I wasn't talking about Miz. People started to argue with me about the Miz on a show where Miz had the best match in the show, and they were still so obnoxious I had to mute a bunch of them.
Well, I made a comment after this match that Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. Mm-hmm. And so I got 5,000 tweets about Miz.
Yeah.
I didn't even say anything about Miz.
I know.
So you know what that means? I'm going to say something about him now, okay? Uh-huh. This guy can be carried to a great match. I saw it here with my own eyes.
Yes.
Okay? If you go through Miz's match history, all of his great matches are with great guys. The guy can be carried. If you put Seth Rollins in a match with a guy who's not very good, he can have a good match. If you put Miz in the ring with a guy who's not very good, you're not going to have a good match. Because Miz himself is not a great worker. He's a good, solid hand that can be carried to a great match. This match was a prime example of that. If you watch this match, if you really watch this match, this was the Seth Rollins show. Seth Rollins was out of this world in this match. Miz wrestled every match that he ever wrestles. There was nothing in this match that Miz doesn't do in every single one of his other matches. He's there. He is usually in the right place at the right time. And everything turned out fine in this match. But I can always tell by reading my timeline who understands working and who does not.
No, you're right. I agree. It was a very, very good match. Like I say, by far the best thing on the show. The spot where Miz did a high cross and Seth did the John Cena spot where you roll back to your feet and carry the guy up into a slam, which only John Cena does because you have to be really strong to do it. You had... Seth was selling his knee, and by selling I mean he got worked over for a while and then made his comeback, and every once in a while he would just grab it in agony and then ignore it again. And then he kicked out of 2 of Miz's finishers because WWE wants their guys to be superheroes. And Seth was a superhero tonight.
You're right, he was. But there's another good point about this match. I also had to listen to people going, Miz had a better match than AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, if you would have told me the finish of that AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match going in, I could have bet you $1 million that Miz would have had a better match than these 2 fucking guys. Especially if you told me that they were going to have that finish, and Seth Rollins and Miz were going to be allowed to kick out of each other's finishers twice.
Yeah.
No shit, they had a better match. It was the opener, so the crowd was super hot.
Yeah.
They hadn't been killed by the rest of this fucking show.
No.
Yes, Miz was in the best match on the show. That doesn't mean Miz is the best worker in the company.
No.
He had the luck of the draw in many ways.
Actually,
Seth
yes.
Rollins, the fucking opener, good booking, good match layout, the ability to do all of the things that nobody was allowed to do. The time.
Yes.
Fuck, this match was great.
It was a very, very good match, and everyone can go watch it. I would endorse that.
Yes. Joe, your thoughts on this match?
What do you think the odds are before the show started that Miz and Rollins would have the best match?
Well, I would have told you
50-1.
I don't know if I would have told you 50-1 because, Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns, in the ring, they should have had a very good match, but we can talk about that later. And AJ and Nakamura, they should have had the best match on the show. In fact, if they would have had a finish, it's possible they might have had the best match on the show. I still think the opener would have been better. But I would not have bet money on that. But I also have seen enough Seth Rollins matches to know that there's no reason that this guy shouldn't have the best match on the show. He's fucking great.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. My notes for the match say, boy, the announcing is kind of terrible.
Fucking idiot. It's hideous.
Knee being hurt doesn't really sell. Okay, he got better there for a second. What a welt on Miz's leg.
He did have a big welt on his
He
leg.
did take some hard kicks.
I don't even know how. Yeah, the announcing's terrible. It's ungodly terrible. And I'll get to a couple of specific examples here after the while, but bad.
Okay, does anyone else have anything nice left to say?
Rob, do you have anything nice left to say about this show?
The show,
Producer
life,
Rob?
people, the world, anything.
Yeah, get it out now.
I have nothing. I'm stupefied as the rest of us.
My cat's cute though, right?
Yes, Kez adorable.
Your baby is cute.
My baby
cute
was
too.
very cute here today. Okay, now let's get going.
Right. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss.
Where's my sword? Hey, I'll even start before we even get to that. Okay? So when this match was over, I'm drenched in sweat right now.
I'm joining you. We may all be shirtless by the time this is done.
When this match was over, please know,
For you on video.
the night's bad enough.
Right.
Corey Graves says, after this great match, he goes, the Intercontinental title was always known as the workhorse belt, and Miz took it to a whole new level. I was so fucking angry when he said that. Let me explain something to everybody, okay? Yes, Miz has had some good matches with that title, but Miz is a heel whose gimmick is he is a chicken shit heel. He had a fucking Miz-tourage that helped him win match after match after match. The matches, by the way, he did not fluke his way into a win on. It was a fucking gimmick when he came out and said that he had brought the Intercontinental Championship to new heights. Have we forgotten about that? He was playing the honky-tonk man.
Yeah.
He was out there having sometimes great matches, sometimes good matches, sometimes bad matches. Usually if he won, it was via interference from the Miz-tourage. And he would go out there on television and say, I'm the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I've brought prestige back to this belt. Now fucking Corey Graves, who is supposed to be the announcer that has credibility, is here claiming that this is actually true, like he's Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or Kurt Hennig. I was fucking infuriated when I heard this. I used to think that Corey Graves was a great announcer, like he was the only good announcer that they had on the main roster. He fucking sucks now. He's turning into Matt Stryker.
Yes, actually.
Why?
I don't know.
Can we have one good fucking announcer, please?
Morrow.
He's not on the main roster.
Thank God. They ruined him too.
Jesus, this sucks.
Okay, can I rant about Nia Jax now?
Sure, yeah.
She's awful.
She's terrible.
Listen, we get this fucking Nia Jax Alexa Bliss thing. This starts with like a 4-minute video package. It's going on and on and on. And listen, I watched WrestleMania. Not that much has happened since then. I didn't need a 4-minute recap.
You don't even watch the TV shows, and you knew this was too long.
Yes.
Imagine watching every fucking show.
I don't know. So then the match begins. This match convinced me that we do, in fact, need legit enforced weight divisions in pro wrestling. Because Alexa's the bad guy, she has to cut Nia off and work her over and beat her up. And I am watching a moth beat up something much larger than a moth. And it's not believable. I cannot suspend my disbelief enough to believe Alexa Bliss is capable of hurting Nia Jax. So Nia's slow, she's clumsy, her offense looks horrible, she gets thrown out of the ring. Now I have to assume Alexa's trying to lift this giant person into the ring. Can't do it. This is like 3 minutes gone by. I was begging for that video package to come back. Crowd is dead. There's one match after Miz and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had to follow that match. They were in a death spot. Nobody cared. And you know, here's the thing. The Nia Jax babyface turn was great. The television leading up to her turn was great. It was a great turn. The fans loved her for what she was when she turned, but you can't be a giant babyface. It's very, very hard, okay?
No, she can't.
When you're a giant in a division, you have to be a special attraction. Like, you get bullied by the little people as a heel or whatever the storyline is, and you turn babyface. Now, like, you return when they need you to take out somebody who's big. Instead, she's in there beating the shit out of a girl who is legit 5 fucking feet tall and like 100 pounds. It's preposterous. Alexa's getting the heat on Nia. It's impossible to buy. The match is terrible. Nobody cares. She wins with a Samoan drop. And this match so did not get over. It so did not work that Nia Jax, who was cheered like crazy on Raw, who was cheered like crazy at WrestleMania, who was cheered like crazy after she overcame the bullying, she is booed out of the building during her promo, talking about how this victory is for anybody who felt less or that felt they weren't good enough. For everybody who has been bullied, this win is for you. The fans boo louder and louder with each word. This sucked.
Before we get to the promo, I don't think we're being hard enough on Nia Jax as a wrestler yet. At one point, she grabs Alexa by the back of her head and goes to whip her in, and Alexa does like a somersault. I think, okay, they fucked something up, and Alexa recovered, now they do something else. No, then she did it again. That's what they were trying to do.
That was her plan.
They were not screwing up. They were not botching things. They were doing things they wanted to do, and it sucked! So, then we get to this promo. This fucking promo. This promo. Do you know, it should have been the easiest thing in the world. The easiest thing in the world to get over with. This is a win for the little guy. This is the win for people who are picked on. This is the win, fucking Stevie Richards made a joke out of it and barely legal to work. The win for the guy who got picked last at kickball. When she's out there saying, everyone out there can be special, you can be unique, you can be extraordinary, fuck you! Shut up and leave! Never return! Nia Jax brings nothing to the table that I enjoy.
Wow.
I see zero value in her. So, of course, her entirely phony, pre-rehearsed, wooden, unbelievable promo transitions into Cole delivering a phony, rehearsed, unbelievable transition into the Be a Star spiel. Keep this in mind, everyone. WWE doesn't like bullies. They hate bullies. Bullies are bad.
Yep. This was an advertisement.
This is a minus 3-star promo.
This right here was an advertisement for Be a Star. That's all it was. It was absolutely transparent. It sucked. I hated every second of this whole thing. They couldn't even have Mickie James come out and 2-on-1 the little bullies would double team the heel. It was a 1-on-1 match.
Didn't we just do a whole show? I guess we didn't, but they did a whole show on Andre the Giant. The big friendly giant for decades.
Yeah.
You can do it. It can be done. This ain't how.
Joe, anything you'd like to say about this segment?
So yeah, like I said, had to watch the show live, which meant that my wife watched the show with me.
Condolences on your divorce.
So her quote at the beginning of the match was, "It would be fun to see the blonde girl get squashed like a grape." By the end of the match, she had a look of disgust on her face and said, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
I'm with her.
Why are the wives always so smart about wrestling?
Well, because...
I guess because it's common fucking sense, maybe?
because...
And they're usually smart?
I'm dying.
Fuck, this sucked.
Had a Samoa Joe backstage interview. He promised he would beat Roman tonight and turned...
Dude, even this sucked, Vinny.
It wasn't very good.
You don't watch Raw and SmackDown. Do you know who the best promo in this company?
I saw the promo he cut on...
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the best promo in the entire world.
Yeah.
They finally gave him a line. He's going to turn the big dog into a puppy.
A whimpering puppy.
A whimpering puppy. He couldn't pull it off. They finally got the line. It made him look like kind of a geek. I couldn't believe my eyes.
This was bullshit.
My job is in jeopardy. I can tell here. Joe's gonna steal my gig. Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. Randy Orton's making his entrance, and Graves mentions his, quote, famous methodical style.
Well, he's not wrong about that.
So
the first thing he said with consistency all night.
It was so obvious he had to repeat the word methodical later in the match. Orton was methodically punching Jeff. The crowd was methodically silent. They methodically brawled on the floor. There was a Rusev Day chant. Apparently Jeff Hardy has a move called the... I can't even...
I'll do it. It's a move where he does he's going for the headstand in the corner, but he turns into a drop kick because the guy's sitting in the corner.
I see.
They call it the Hardiac arrest. I've heard worse names.
I can imagine Jeff Hardy thinking of that, actually.
Yes.
So Orton methodically poses for the RKO. A fan methodically shouts boring. And then Jeff hits a twist of fate and crushes Orton with a senton for the win. This was not a bad match.
You know what this was?
A SmackDown match.
Exactly. No, SmackDown's better. This was exactly as I described it on Twitter, which was a 5-star, 2-star match.
You'll never find a 2-star match better than this.
It was a perfect average match.
Sure. By the way, did I mention that the build for this, because I don't watch SmackDown,
was they stole each other's entrance?
Well, not even that. The build for this is Jeff Hardy, the champion, irritated Randy Orton, the challenger. Thus, Randy Orton, the challenger, would lower himself to Jeff's level to challenge for this U.S. belt. Now then he got pinned clean, so that kind of made up for
Well, that's kind of what happened. What actually happened was, one day, Randy Orton was going to come to the ring, but then Jeff came out instead and took his match. And then the next week, Jeff was coming to the ring, but Randy came out and took his match. This led to a title match.
Okay. Whatever.
No, you're not missing anything.
No, I don't. I
I
don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Joe, your thoughts?
Just to piggyback on how shitty the announcing is, how many times do they need to tell us about the champion's advantage?
Oh.
We heard it the first match. We heard it the second match. Shut the fuck up about it already.
You know, when they did that, I should have known they were going to fuck us out of that AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match. Because that's probably why they did the entire show, to remind you that the champion must be pinned or submitted for the title to change hands. God damn it.
All right, before we get into this next segment, WWE Backlash was trending on Twitter tonight, which is not atypical for a WWE pay-per-view, but usually it's whatever it would say. Roman Reigns has another main event that sucks. Styles and Nakamura battle to a draw. No. The trending thing here on Twitter says WWE Backlash, song and dance entertained WWE fans at Backlash.
Song and dance.
Which brings us to the song and dance.
You know, let me say one thing about this song and dance, okay? And this is one of my big problems with the entire show. In a vacuum, this was very entertaining.
Sure.
But have you ever heard the term wrong place, wrong time?
Yes.
This motherfucking show went 35 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah. Because they had to add this.
This was 35 minutes by itself.
That made me hate this.
Yeah.
On any other show, I would have, and I did not like it, but Jesus Christ, did we have to go 35 minutes back? These people are in New Jersey.
Yes.
You want to know why everybody was rushing to beat traffic in the main event? Partially because Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe were having a boring match, but also because the fucking show went long.
It was
because
11:30.
you had to have this on the show.
How much detail do we need to go into?
I'll do it. I'll do it quick. Elias is in the ring. He gets a big pop. He's trying to get heat, but they cheer him more and more and more. He's working his ass off to get booed. He finally gets some boos, and that's when they hit the New Day's music. They come out and they explain they want to walk with Elias. Sounds like a babyface thing to me, so I don't know why he was trying so hard to get heat. He says, I'm a solo act. They start playing their song. He tells them to shut up. Take your act somewhere else, he says. They disappear. They vanish.
They did.
Out comes Aiden English, introduces Rusev. Rusev comes down to the ring, buries the Drifter, calls him a bootleg Bob Dylan, which is not the worst insult, by the way.
Frankly, no.
I'd be okay with being a bootleg Bob Dylan.
There's lots of bootleg Bob Dylans out there.
Yeah. So Elias tells him to scram. Then No Way Jose comes out. They've got Titus O'Neil, Titus Worldwide Breezango. New Day returns. They all join the conga line. Elias tells him to knock it off. Goes to his concert again. Bobby Roode appears out of nowhere. He lays at Elias with his DDT. Then in his robe, he starts dancing and shaking his ass, and he dances to the line, or to the back, with the rosebuds, I might add, in his robe, okay? It was entertaining. It was funny. It made Elias, Aiden English, Rusev, The New Day, and Bobby Roode out to be complete geeks.
And
Breezango. But half of them are already geeks anyway.
Fair enough.
And it made the show go an extra 35 minutes. So yes, I was upset about this by the end of the night. But as a standalone segment,
it was funny at the
in
time.
a goddamn vacuum,
Yeah.
This was funny. We weren't watching this in a vacuum. Joe, any thoughts?
My biggest takeaway was Big E's traps are so big that Drum did not fit over his shoulders.
He's a muscular fella.
His boobs are enormous.
He lifts them weights.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I saw the guy at Wall A Mania. He's so fucking big.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at you, Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
You were known as Shoulders Torelli.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
You didn't have muscular shoulders, but you have a wide frame.
Sitting next to me on an airplane sucks.
Okay.
Yes.
I swear to God, Big E, like, the other way...
Yes.
Is as wide as your shoulders are.
From
spine to the front of his nipples.
Yes.
Is as wide as you are shoulder. He's so fucking big.
I would buy that. He's
crazy.
He is Big E.
Yeah.
Speaking of big, Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass.
What a fucking shitty match. You could not have had a worse... Dude. Big fucking Cass is coming back from an ACL injury.
Yeah.
His first opponent is Daniel fucking Bryan. Mm-hmm. Do you know how impossible it is to have a bad match with Daniel Bryan?
I can't think of one. It's been years.
This had to have been the worst match of Daniel Bryan's career that went any length of time. Big Cass didn't do a goddamn thing. This is your chance. You've just come back
with the biggest star they've had in the past 5 years.
You just have to go in there and have a good match.
I didn't really think about it. This was by far the biggest match of Big Cass's career.
It was by far the biggest match of his career.
He did that.
He did absolutely nothing. I'm not even exaggerating.
No.
He did some clubbering. He did
some boots,
some clotheslines, and he did some boots. And then Daniel Bryan puts him in the yes lock for the submission.
You had the best description of Big Cass ever, which is he's a slightly more athletic, much less entertaining Diesel.
Can you fucking imagine?
God.
And then he attacked Daniel Bryan.
I don't want to watch this match again.
After the match, because this feud must continue.
Dude. It was... I feel like this kind of... And it's worse because of Daniel Bryan's involved, but I feel the same way about this as I feel about that the Elias segment. In a vacuum, it was...
What are you talking about? I would not approve of this in a vacuum.
Hell.
This was horrible. It hurt Daniel Bryan. Like, I never want to see Big Cass again. Listen, honest question, everybody. If Big Cass can't have a good match with Daniel Bryan, who could he have a good match with?
I don't know.
Somebody asked on Twitter, could Big Cass have a good match with Okada? It would be his greatest challenge. I've seen him have good matches with Evil and Bad Luck Fale.
The Bad Luck Fale
I don't think that. I'm not sure. He'd have to be able to, but I'd have to see it to believe it. Rob, you got something to say here?
It just reminded me. Somebody on Twitter made the point about Big Cass's style to say that he wrestles like a kid playing a wrestling video game who doesn't know any of the combinations to the finishing moves and is just mashing buttons.
Yes,
it's a perfect description.
But he only has 3 moves to mash.
A, B, and C.
He has A, B, and C. He may not even have C. I may be giving him too much credit here.
The point I was trying to make, I didn't do a very good job because I've lost my mind. But I didn't hate this.
I hated it.
Until afterwards. When they did this fucking attack. They had this match. It was lame and it sucked. But we're all going to move on with our lives. But no. Now we're going to have a revenge match. Now we have to see them wrestle 5 more times before SummerSlam.
Terrible.
If you were Daniel Bryan, wouldn't you just retire again right now?
Dude, that's why you should be mad about this. Like, what are they going to do with Daniel Bryan? He went in there. He had a match that wasn't very good at WrestleMania, which was not his fault. Goes in here with a Big Cass, had a match that wasn't very good, not his fault. Like, they're going to be putting him in the title picture after this? Of course not. He's going to be going with the Miz, and probably Miz will beat him.
Miz will be much better than this.
Miz will be far superior to the Big Cass. Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, my notes kind of echo what you said, Brian. I wrote down Cass has been de-Enzo'd, and that's not necessarily a good
we didn't say that.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty much a big, greasy, boring Kevin Nash right now.
So, yeah, there were chants of we want Enzo in this match from people who don't know what's going on, and chants of no, we don't from those who do.
And then I wrote, after Danielson won, I said he shouldn't really lose until after he wins the title. And then I wrote, who does this help? ? After the beatdown. One guy tapped out and the other guy gets beat up. No wonder I don't care about wrestling anymore.
Nope.
Nope.
On that note, Carmella wrestled. Can you believe we sat through Nia Jax, Cass, and Carmella back to back to back?
Yeah. I can believe it because they were in front of maybe the hottest crowd in America. And they were absolutely dead at this point. They killed them.
I'm alright.
Dude, this was.
I ran out of gas. I ran out of heat.
This was better than Daniel Bryan versus Cass.
No.
Yes.
No.
It was. Tiebreaker. Rob, was this better or worse?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on, you know it was better. What about you, Joe?
I mean, the crowd was dead, so.
It was dead.
This was the highlight of the night for me, I got to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, my notes say not paying much attention, Vegas just won the hockey game and are going to the Western Conference Finals.
I thought you were going to mention Carmella's gear.
Carmella was hot.
That alone makes this better than the Daniel Bryan Big Cass match.
Carmella is hotter than Big Cass.
Did we mention how orange Big Cass was? He's like a giant goblin. Why is he so orange?
So
Looks like Trump.
at least Cass is boring as shit. Absolutely boring as shit. But his offense, he looks like a trained combatant when he does wrestling maneuvers. Carmella's offense is limited to chin locks and slapping at Carmella like a 4-year-old slaps at an older sibling. She's horrible. She's hot. She has charisma, so they'll put her out there. They're doing this match. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. The announcers are quiet for like a minute because they got nothing to say because nothing is happening. And Graves just says, "What do you say, Byron?" It's all trying to Byron Saxton to save the show.
When Corey Graves is looking for Byron to save the show, it is reached its depths.
And then Charlotte missed a moonsault, landed on her feet, sold her knee. Carmella kicked her in the knee, cradled her, and pinned her.
Yeah.
Clean.
Yep.
Nia Jax and Carmella are the women's champions.
Yeah.
The women's revolution's dead.
You know, I don't want to complain too much about the finish because, hey, it's a clean finish. And I like complaining about clean
I'll complain
finishes.
about it. Carmella won.
But like Carmella,
The wrong person won, Brian.
she cashed in the Money in the Bank to get like an underhanded win on Charlotte. That's like the heat.
Yeah.
And then they do the match and she just wins clean.
Yeah.
So she proved that she could beat her.
Yes.
Where's the fucking heat at?
I don't know.
There is no heat. Ay. Oh, and then this. Okay, everyone just... What's the word they say? Lay out, everybody?
Sure. Back off.
I'm not going to waste everyone's time. I'm going to make this as quick as possible. At that goddamn Greatest Royal Rumble, they did a double count out. I ranted and raved about what a fucking horrible finish that was. That's the best they could come up with was a double count out. Some asshole says to me, "Well, what would you have done that was better? Obviously they didn't want to finish." I said, "Well, you fucking idiot. There's a very, very good finish here, okay? The finish is Nakamura keeps low-blowing AJ. Over and over again, he hits him in the balls, right? So, finally he hits him in the balls at the Greatest Royal Rumble. AJ flips his lid. He hits Shinsuke in the balls in front of the referee. He gets himself disqualified. Shinsuke Nakamura then says, "You coward. You got yourself disqualified to save your title. I demand a rematch. No disqualification rules." Right?
Sure.
Okay, they don't fucking do that. But you know what they do? They go on television and they have Shinsuke Nakamura come out and demand AJ apologize for a double count out. And then as a result of a double count out, they sign a no DQ match. This makes no fucking sense. It's fucking stupid to sign a no DQ match after a match in a fucking count out. What does a DQ have to do with anything? And I astutely note, you know what? A no DQ match can end in a count out. Why the fuck are they doing this? Well, the answer is because they're going to do a third match here at Backlash, and the finish is a double count out in a no DQ match. This is my most hated booked feud, I think, in the history of WWE. They have fucked everything up from day one with this feud. It's absolutely fucking terrible. It sucks in real life because we got a bullshit finish of the Greatest Royal Rumble and we got a bullshit finish here. It sucks in storyline because the booking doesn't make a goddamn bit of sense based on the finish from the Greatest Royal Rumble. It sucks in real life. It sucks in fake life. It fucking sucks. And they were on their way to having a great match when they did this fucking bullshit finish.
That is the key. They had a match at Mania. It was all right. They had a match at the Royal Rumble. It was getting pretty good. They did a shit finish. They did this match, and it was progressing and building, and people were getting into it. And I thought, this is going to be it, man. This is going to be the classic they're going to have.
Finally, we're going to get a great match with a finish and a new champion.
And they do. Shinsuke hits a low blow. AJ recovers and he hits a low blow. And they start brawling. The place is going crazy. They do a double low blow. Everyone's going nuts. I think, man, this is great wrestling. And then it was done. That was the end. Like, what?
I could not even believe my eyes. If you would have told me the beginning of the year, okay, if you had two options, you could say, Bryan, Miz is going to have the best match on a pay-per-view that AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura are wrestling on. Or you could tell me that AJ and Shinsuke are going to feud and you're going to hate the booking more than any other booking in the history of WWE. I would have said both are impossible. Both have happened on the same show.
Did we mention this is the third time in 29 days we see Nakamura and AJ on pay-per-view?
Yeah.
That makes it unspecial, doesn't it?
Joe, your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, so I put the kids to bed, so I missed the beginning of the match. I wrote that I like Nakamura much better as a heel.
He's way better.
And that,
a million times better.
And that the match was certainly progressing. And then I write, I'm pretty sure after 2 shots to the balls, I wouldn't want to be fighting anymore. ... WTF.
That's what happened. And boy, did these fans love low blows.
They did.
Every time someone kicked someone in the balls, they just went crazy. And as someone astutely noted on Twitter, there were a bunch of them actually. This match was a kick in the balls. This match gave me blue balls. One after another. Fuck this match.
I do like the idea somebody had the next match needs to be a match where the only legal maneuver is the low blow.
Yeah, a low blow match.
Yes.
How about balls on a pole match?
No.
Put both their balls up on a pole. Whoever can get them back first wins. All of this is better than the book in this fucking feud so far. God, it's just so shitty. How about this?
This fucking tag match.
I got a better one.
More? Okay.
Yeah. Cup on a pole.
First one gets
Whoever
armor.
can get the cup can put it on
And
and
the balls are
protect
safe.
their fucking balls.
Yes. Well, tag match.
Can you imagine? I just cannot imagine how they fucked this up.
Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Okay, can I say one thing real quick? Sure. Do you remember earlier when I said that you cannot book a show in a vacuum?
Or judge a show in a vacuum? Or,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
This fucking match was such bullshit. The way they booked this.
Yeah.
It was worse than a Raw match.
Yeah.
Sammy tries to walk out. Kevin goes to get him. It was just so much bullshit that you could talk about in a second. On another show, this might have been fine. But when you book a show with so much bullshit, including the finish of that championship match that went right before this one, you can't book this like this. And furthermore, in the vacuum, I'm sure on some shows, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe going 25 minutes and having a 7-minute chin lock / arm lock in the middle of the match might have been okay. After giving these people that finish in the title match and then this finish here, you can't do that in a match. You can't do it on paper. You can't do it in real life. This was so horrible here on this show, especially the semi-main event.
So Strowman and Lashley versus Zayn and Owens. Lashley beats up the Canadians. Nobody cares. The Canadians beat him up. Nobody cares. They did, to be fair, they did a fine job of teasing and building the hot tag, and the place went crazy when Braun tagged in. And it was funny watching Braun throw guys around and run around the ringside and run through them and kill them. And then it fell apart. Sammy tried to run away. Kevin threw him back. Sammy tried to leave. Kevin threw him back. Whatever, I don't know. All I could think was, can you just do a fucking tag team match during your semi-main event? Are tag team matches that hard to do?
They had a way better one on Raw. They had a 6-man with these same guys. Clean finish. Long match. Way better.
There were minutes here where all 4 guys were standing there doing nothing as Sammy and Kevin yelled at each other. And eventually, Lashley pinned Owens with a duplex. He pinned with a vertical suplex. That's it. The announcers began to bicker over who is legal like it matters. They are completely bored. And then, do you remember earlier on the show
Oh, yeah.
when Nia Jax talked about bullies?
Yeah.
How bullying's bad.
We don't like bullies.
We don't like bullies.
Be a star.
And Michael Cole told us all to be a star, and here's what you can do for being bullied. Lashley and Owens, the biggest, scary, or Lashley and Braun, the biggest, scariest, most monstrous men in the entire show, had their opponents helpless and beaten, and then bullied the fuck out of them.
They did.
They've never seen bullying like this. What assholes. And we're supposed to cheer for them.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Vinny, since you don't watch Raw.
Thank God.
It was about 2 weeks
If anyone
ago.
wants to know why I don't watch Raw.
It was about 2 weeks ago. There was a show, and it wasn't very good. And they had a tag match with Lashley and Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman got the hot tag. In this place, it was like Steve Austin came in on the milk truck.
Sure.
He was so over that it was like, they got to build around this guy. He's by far the most over guy in this promotion right now. He got the hot tag in this match. Nobody gave a fuck. They bully these two guys. They do their deal. Nobody gives a fuck. He even did 2 power slams there at the end to try to get the fans to care. Nobody gave a fuck. That's how bad this show was. Horrible. Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, three thoughts, I guess. Number one, seeing Braun run at full speed is both scary and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair.
The second one is Bobby Lashley holding Kevin Owens up for like 10 seconds when that dude's got to weigh 300 pounds plus is both scary and hilarious at the same time.
Also, yes.
And thirdly, apparently, Nia Jax hurt Alexa Bliss's shoulder. That just came up on my Facebook page.
Really? Like legit?
Did I tell you how shitty Nia Jax is?
God damn.
Did I tell you how she has no value to the company?
She hurt Bailey. Who else did she hurt? I think
Me! I had to watch her.
Here,
She hurt my
I'm
eyes.
talking real injuries, God damn it.
No, me too.
All right, fine. We all have been scarred. But yeah, this was very bad.
And now, we've gotten to the worst of it all.
You know, before, can I just lighten up the mood a little bit?
No!
You know what's funny about Braun running? I've never seen somebody run so fast, who is so tall, but have a shallower step length. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
he does not have long strides.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a 3-foot stride. He's got like a very, very rapid 1-foot stride on a 6'8" guy running.
He's a 10-foot man with a 6-inch stride. This is true.
That's why it's
He
so
looks
funny.
like a cartoon character running at full speed.
He does.
Do you remember
He looks like his upper body is normal, but his legs are like a hamster wheel.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We used to say
Yeah.
similar stuff about Abyss.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's scary, sometimes he is a giant Muppet. There's a similarity between those two, between Abyss and Braun Strowman.
Before you get started, Vinny, can I make one comment, as this was like the 3-hour point?
Yeah, that's a key, by the way. That whole tag team main event bullshit, it was past the 3-hour mark. I'm sitting here watching guys yell at each other and not try to win.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah, I
Fuck this.
wrote verbatim, why the fuck is this so long? Just because you can go more than 3 hours doesn't mean you should.
You know, I don't remember where it was. It was probably around the AJ match. But somebody there texted me and they said, this thing's going until 3 hours and 20 minutes. And I was like, fuck. I started looking at the card and it was true. There was no way they would end at 3 o'clock. And then, like, at about 8 o'clock, they were like, it's going to 8:35 now. And I thought, how the fuck is it going till 8:35? Why? On a show this long that's this bad, why can't Roman Reigns go out there, have just a slam-bam 8-minute match, fucking just back and forth, Roman Reigns wins, we go home happy? Why did they have to go that long? And why did we have, at the 3-hour and 10-minute mark, 7 fucking minutes of chin locks and arm locks? This crowd hated Roman when he came out. They loved Joe. I think their brilliant idea was, if Joe does a bunch of rest holds, the fans will turn on Joe and they'll cheer Roman. That's always their idea. If we make the other guy hated, they'll like Roman. You know what? It never works. Whenever you try that, they hate Roman, and then they hate the other guy, and then they don't give a shit about anything. That's exactly what happened in this match. They turned on Joe, they hated Roman, they started chanting boring, they started chanting beat the traffic, they started chanting this is boring, they started leaving. We have photos from in the building of empty areas of the building.
Chanted for CM Punk.
And I hate to jump ahead, but
Rusev Day, delete.
when this match was over, and Roman Reigns hits the spear, and they do the quick shot to the crowd right after the pinfall, because they figure, no matter what, right after the pinfall, if we cut to the crowd immediately, you'll see people jump up and put their arms in the air just for a second before they realize they don't like Roman. They cut to the crowd, and in 32 years of watching WWE, WWF, I've never seen this. They cut to the crowd, everyone's leaving. They're all standing up and getting the fuck out of town.
Can you blame him?
No! I was ready to quit this show 10 after. Go ahead, Vinny. Tell us about this horrible match.
I I don't have a lot to add about the match itself as far as what happened, what they were thinking, and how it went down. We talked about all the chants. They didn't do hardly any wrestling because the idea was to get Joe booed, which worked, but they did not get Roman cheered. So as you noted, the fans hated both guys, didn't care about what was going on, was trying to chant for the guys who are over, like Rusev and Matt Hardy. And Punk, who quit, 2 years ago? Still one of their biggest stars. So the two things I want to talk about here. First of all, we must ask the question, where does this rank on the list of all-time horrible Big Show main events? It's up there with the Doomsday Cage match. And the Jeff Hardy Sting match when Jeff Hardy was loaded and Sting pinned him. These are complete disasters. And I don't know that they weren't better than this. In fact, the more I think about it, pretty sure that Doomsday Cage match was better than this.
No.
It was horrible.
It was horrible, but...
So, that's the first question. Second one is not so much a question, more of a point. When there was the backlash amongst the fans, to coin a phrase, of the boos and people leaving and getting up to leave and beat the traffic and all that, pointing this out, and I got a lot of feedback saying, this is the only way we can do it. By doing this, we can show WWE will never love Roman. No, guys, you're wrong. The only way that you as a consumer have the power to change things is to stop consuming. You must stop buying tickets. You must stop watching Raw. You must stop watching SmackDown. Well, the network's awesome. Don't cancel the network. But as long as you give them money, they win. So, do you think they care? Oh man, fans are walking out. They'll wipe their tears away with $100 bills. They don't give a shit about you, everyone. They don't care about you. They have their money. They don't care if you enjoy the show. So if you don't like the show, stop watching. Please.
Well, everybody getting up and leaving. If everybody...
But they already paid!
I know, but if everybody always got up and left during Roman Reigns matches and they left out of the building and went home, and the place was half empty when he hit the spear, yes, they would make a change. That would happen. They can't keep cutting the crowd and people are leaving. They just can't keep doing that. That would make a change, but I don't think it's going to happen. They did that because it was 11:35 at night on the East Coast, and people got to go to work in the morning. That's the main reason. And the match was terrible.
It was a horrible fucking match.
It really wasn't even that bad.
Oh, it was bad.
Everything about it was bad. I can't fault... Well, fuck it. Who cares?
Joe did a cool elbow suicida. There's one cool thing.
Yeah. They booked a bad match.
Yes.
That's it.
I don't blame Joe. I don't really blame Roman. But it's just...
I'm done with him in the main event. I'm over
Yes! Everyone is.
You don't want to finish the show with a double countout, but I'm not sure that double countout was actually worse than everything that happened in this main event with Roman Reigns out there closing the show.
That would've...
In a non-title match with Samoa Joe.
AJ and Shinsuke would have been a much better main event than Joe.
It would have been a better main event. Finish sucked. But great. We got a spear here. That's better. I don't know. Joe, any thoughts on this match?
I had two thoughts, I guess. One, at the beginning, the German announcer fleeing over the barricade and about killing himself was pretty funny.
What happened?
So
there's a horrible match in front of him. He ran away.
Threw Roman. He Uranage him into the first table, and then he flipped him into the second table, and he threw him into the third table. When he went into the third table, the German announcer was like, "Oh shit, I need to get the fuck out of here," and he leapt over the barricade.
I didn't see
died
that.
Getting over the barricade.
How about that? I was hoping, I swear to God, Joe attacked him before the bell, and he did all that stuff with the announcers' tables, and then I realized that the bell hadn't rung yet, and I thought, you know what? This ref should just, throw the match out, and we just all go home.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
I was like, that'd be the capper for this fucking show. Why not? Who gives a shit? They didn't do it.
And then my other thought is that Joe needs to give Big E lessons on how to go through the ropes and not murder yourself.
That's true, but he almost murdered Roman. He landed right on his legs. But yeah, Big E's dive's got to end outside the ring. So yeah, that's the show. That was a very, very, very horrible show. One of the worst shows I've ever seen. Honest to God,
this is the worst show in years.
It really was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. Joe's not even watching shows, so he can't even rank it. But I presume of the ones you've watched, this was up there?
Yeah, this is the worst WWE pay-per-view I've seen in years and years and years. And like I said, I watched pretty much all the pay-per-views, but there's a lot of fast-forwarding through shit that I don't care about.
Sure.
And tonight, I am glad that I only paid $10 to watch that.
I'm so sorry this was the show that you had to watch to do this program. I didn't mean to.
It was actually probably more enjoyable to hear you and Vinny flip out.
Well, you're not going to have another show this year that this would happen in.
Nope.
Or in the last 18 months. It was actually a perfect day if that's what you wanted.
That's a bold statement, Brian. That's a bold statement.
Dude, it is, but this was so bad. It's unfathomably bad. Well, listen, let's get some plugs in. Joe, you got anything you want to plug there?
No, it's hot as hell here in Vegas, so...
Are you going to the convention this year? Have you ever gone to one of our conventions?
I have not. I have been debating it, and I think I probably will go this year just to see the shenanigans.
Well, it looks like Vinny and I are going.
I'm going for sure.
Yep, it's going to be SummerSlam weekend. Rob? What's the news here?
As of this moment, I am planning on being there as well.
Oh, man.
That is
Firm commitment if I've heard one.
That's right.
Well, that is always subject to change on,
the whims of...
the whims of the boss of the house.
That's right.
Yeah. As of right now, I'm definitely planning on being there as well.
Oh, man. Okay, well, anyway, everybody, we're probably going to do the convention, SummerSlam weekend, and also All In, or at least I'm doing both. So whichever one you want to go to, I guess is whichever one you're going to go to. We'll do more plugs here for stuff that's actually going to be taking place as it draws near. But, Joe, I want to see you there, buddy. I'll buy you a dinner because you were subjected to this show after the big donation you made for Whale Scout. That's how I'll make it up to you. How's that sound?
That's a deal.
All right. Vinny and Rob will be there as well, but they got to buy their own.
Fair.
All right. Well, listen, everybody, that's it. Joe, I want to thank you so much for doing the show here today, and thank you so much for the donation. Wendy very much appreciates it. Wanted to say hi. And, of course, we're going to be back on Tuesday. Vinny, what are we doing Tuesday?
Tuesday, Brian, we were watching Retro Raw, as we do every week. But then there was no Retro Nitro 19 years ago this week. And so last week on the Retro Show, I pointed out that you asked if I had ever seen anything worse than that episode of Nitro.
Yes.
And I, without skipping a beat, replied, Battlefield Earth, a John Travolta film from, I believe, the 90s. And so we had nothing else to watch.
And the important thing is, I don't believe that Battlefield Earth could possibly be worse than the Nitro that we watched last week.
Right. So we are going to watch, I believe Craig already has, as you can imagine that poor fellow's gone through. We're going to watch Retro Raw from 19 years ago this week in the horrible, horrible Attitude Era.
Yes.
Greatly overrated in hindsight Attitude Era.
Yes.
And then Battlefield Earth, the worst thing I ever saw with my own eyes until, I will say this, I did watch Peter Pan live. That was worse.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
We'll have to save that one for down the line.
Joe, have you ever seen Battlefield Earth?
Oh, you are in for a treat of shit. I actually paid money to see it in the theaters, and it is, without question, the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Holy smokes. Wow. Well, that's Tuesday, everybody, so you can look forward to that. Retro Raw in Battlefield Earth. What a week it's going to be here. Rob, have you seen this movie yet?
I have not, but judging from the great descriptions that everyone's given, I think I might have to.
You may have to. That's right. All right, well, that's going to be Tuesday, everybody, so look forward to that. I'll be back later on tonight with Dave talking this fucking show a second time. And